Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Blomus, bringing you another 1v1 on Shakuras Plateau. We have here spawning in the top right the red Zerg Cobra, and in a cross position, and the top left the blue Zerg WholeGrn. WholeGrn, I believe, is also a member of Team Liquid, Liquid Whole. So we want to say thanks to Whole for sending in this replay and giving us the opportunity to cast this game for your viewing and our casting pleasure. This will be a Zerg versus Zerg, obviously. Have not had opportunity to do too many Zerg v Zerg, and since I don't play Zerg, it's going to be a challenge for me as well as for these players, I'm sure. Just keeping up with terminology and strategy and seeing what's happening on the screen will always be fun for the races you don't play often. We have Cobra throwing down the 15 pool, quickly followed by the 15 extractor, and we have WholeGrn doing the exact opposite with the 15 extractor immediately followed by the 15 pool. Now, interesting thing as we see Whole Scout Cobra, and he has his Overlord seated nicely right outside his base. Cobra scouts the vertical position first with his Overlord, which is interesting considering that this area is the spawning location that your opponent will never ever spawn at on this map. Spawn at. There's been a lot of discussion about this particular map and what the spawning locations would be or can be, and I've heard it said by some commentators and casters that it's the current positions that you see our players in that they would not be able to spawn in these cross positions, but these, as you can plainly see, it is clearly possible to spawn in these locations, as we see Cobra getting some lings out, throwing down his Roach Warren, and we have WholeGrn throwing down the Baneling's nest. So we're going to see some Baneling on Roach action. Should be interesting as we see 6 Cobra lings running across the map, going to be greeted by 6 WholeGrn lings who are actually going to come out on top and be chasing down these Cobra lings, all of them in the red or orange, looking like this is now a team play. But these red lings looking to scout up into Whole's base and quickly going to be dispatched as more lings get popped out and not doing any damage, does not appear. The Baneling nest has finished for Whole, and the rest of these lings are going to be running out across the field. This guy, Cobra's Overlord, still sitting here at the vertical position. I guess waiting to see if WholeGrn will expand there at some point in the match. In any case, we have the first roaches out on the field for Cobra as I speed it up a little bit. And a couple of spine crawlers going down. Good injections for the queen. Let me get that. Oh, I keep forgetting to get that production tab up for you guys. These Zerglings getting good surround on these roaches, able to take them down, and without losing very many of them, but most of them in a pretty poor position as far as health. Going to sit outside of Cobra's base and wait and see if there's any aggression on his part. A lot more lings going to be joining the fray. And here we have Cobra's Overlord checking the back door, making sure that there's no behind the back aggression. Should note that Speedling's upgrade has been completed for both players. The ling attack coming in, trying to take out some of these roaches, getting smacked around by these spine crawlers, and these roaches are going to be able to push back those Speedlings. And these roaches move down into the lower parts of the map. Interesting that neither of these players are really getting their creep out much at all. This Ling going to come out and drop down a hatch here at 42 food for Cobra. And we see still a lot of Zerglings being loaded up as WholeGrn also gets his expansion right out here at the natural. Still just both players now getting layer tech, as you can see in the production tab, and Cobra getting down his Evo chamber, which has been down for some time for WholeGrn, who is now has his... Oh, forgive me, I missed the Lings taking down the expansion for Cobra. I believe he canceled it. It did not get destroyed. And these Lings coming in again, as we see the Hydralisk going down for Cobra. These Lings coming out trying to do some harass, some damage, but these again being repelled by these roaches, but getting to see that Hydralisk den as it's going down, so they know exactly what's coming. WholeGrn knows exactly what's coming. His expansion has finished, and this single Zergling getting out into the field to scout around, grabbing that Xel'Naga tower, and another another drone out to expand, getting quickly dispatched by WholeGrn's Zerglings. And we see some more roaches in the queue for WholeGrn, and some mutas in the queue for Cobra, as we see the glial reconstitution being put down, as well as groove spines and Zerg missile attack level 1 for Cobra, and the glial constitution, the roach speed going down for WholeGrn, as these mutas and roaches are now out in the field along with a few Lings pushing these Zerglings out. Apparently Cobra had to pause there for a moment, and WholeGrn being a good sport about it. As we see more roaches being going up, spine crawler. This expansion beginning to get saturated. Not too many roaches. We could do for perhaps a transfer. There's quite a few drones up here, and might be helpful to get his economy up faster. Always good to have that macro game pumping. As we see lots of roaches and Lings, and about 4 mutas come up. Gonna come up and be quickly pushed away. However, they're equal. The WholeGrn's forces have the +1 armor, while Cobra's forces have the +1 attack. And we see the Changeling out here from WholeGrn, able to see this army and its how it's constituted and what's going on. I'm sure you can hear my family going crazy in the other room, and the dog getting in on the action. My mic picks up everything. Lots and lots of roaches here for WholeGrn Cobra. You see the burrow tech going down, as well as the missile attack upgrade for these mutas and roaches. Seeing more roaches come out. Something was happening in the back there that we missed. More roaches coming out. This army just building, trying to keep. But WholeGrn comes out doing a lot of damage to Cobra's forces with all of these roaches. Going to be chasing down these mutas. Cobra quickly burrows, comes right back up, and but does get attacked some more. Able to wait for Whole to run away to meet back with a even larger roach force heading out with Vision now, with the Overseer now complete, and we have Burrow now going down for WholeGrn, as well as the Carapace level 2. That Changeling gets to go down, as I don't understand, unless he's just doing it for fun. I don't understand breaking down those rocks, but they are broken now, and still coming to the same place. Lots of roaches here for Cobra. Going to be a pretty even matchup, as the level 2 Carapace has finished for WholeGrn, and these guys have the level 2 attack. So it's basically equaling each other out. Cobra gets a Changeling out, which is quickly dispatched by an unburrowed roach, and WholeGrn drops his own Changeling, which is going, I imagine, Gonna crawl up into Cobra's base.